Namaste. I welcome all of you to this webinar, Brighter Minds for Brighter Kids. In today's world, it is difficult to give children a chance to explore a natural environment and develop resonance with it. There are diverse external stimulation and multiple distractions that take them far and far away from their internal source of sensitivity, observation, and creativity. There is an increasing need to instill a sense of confidence in themselves to help them effectively face the challenges of the complex environment around. Now we have Brighter Minds working in this direction. Brighter Minds is an educational initiative which helps children achieve personal excellence and instill confidence in oneself. Today we have with us Mr. Ravindra Kini and Dr. Krishnamurthy Jayanna, who will give us more information about Brighter Minds. To introduce our guests, our first guest, Mr. Ravindra Kini. In his career spanning over 35 years, he has been a part of the leadership that has positively impacted a number of organizations of great renown. Mr. Kini is also on the board of Cognitive Skills Private Limited, a company which trains children under the brand name Brighter Minds, focusing on cognitive learning for children. Welcome, Mr. Kini.
Thank you, Dr. Reena. Pleasure being in the show.
Our second guest, Dr. Krishnamurthy, is a community health specialist, active in the public health and development space for around 2 decades. He holds a number of academic appointments in India and overseas and pursues research in his area of interest as Associate Dean, Research and Professor, Allied Health Sciences at Ramaiah University of Applied Science. He completed MD in Community Medicine from Bangalore, received training research method at WHO Geneva. He holds a postdoctoral research fellowship from Canada. He also is an advisor at Cognitive Skills Private Limited. Welcome, Dr. Krishna.
Thank you, Dr. Renu. It's a pleasure being here.
My first question today goes to Mr. Kini. Mr. Kini, could you please tell us about Brighter Minds? What is this all about?
Okay, as the very name suggests, we called it Brighter Minds for a particular reason. And now let me ask this general question. How many of us have actually discussed about brain, either in our families or in our educational institutions? All of us who have been through this, if you go back and check with your children as well, this is a topic less discussed, or I would rather say not discussed. The length of the hair, the height of the child, the length of the nose, everything is discussed. But brain, which plays a very, very prominent role in our day-to-day activities, is never discussed at all. Now, here is an inspiration which we got that when we look at most of the educational institutions today, the focus is on academics and a little bit of extracurricular activities. But are we focusing on the joy of the child, the ability of the child to explore new things, the cognitive side of the child? This was something which we observed is missing. And we said it's time we release something like this and get started with programs which will help children. We all know 5 to 15 years are formative years for every child. And these are the years when we attach this particular formative years to the neuroscience side of it, we could build excellent neuroplasticity in the children. Their ability to bring in intuitive skills or cognitive skills is something which we thought are best introduced in this age bracket. And we said, okay, let's go ahead and start an organization and release a series of programs under the brand Brighter Minds.
The name itself is very interesting, Brighter Minds. And that's something I think all of us wanted for our children, bright minds. So my next question to Dr. Krishna, could you tell us more about Brighter Minds, like as in the fundamentals of how brain works or the science behind the Brighter Minds?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for that, Dr. Renu. Just continuing with where Mr. Ravindra Kini left, the Brighter Minds is actually a cognitive or a brain training program that we provide to the children between the age of 5 and 15 years. And that's when the brain is really growing fast, and we thought that's an ideal age group to target. And the program runs for over 30 hours over 8 weekends. It's a very simple format and runs around a role of a facilitator in the right learning environment. A lot of importance given to joy and curiosity over the learning aspect. You asked a very brilliant question in terms of how the brighter minds work and how the brain actually functions. If you look at some of the recent research evidence over the last 2-3 decades, I think we know about brain a lot more now than we ever knew in the past. For a long time, we thought brain grows fastest in the child age group, and after a while it stops. But recent evidence clearly shows that brain continues to grow, and brain is actually malleable, it's plastic. That's why the word neuroplasticity. I'm sure a lot of you is familiar with this term neuroplasticity, meaning brain is malleable or it's a plastic. But what makes it continue to grow is the right training, right input, right environment. That is something that Brighter Minds also depends a lot on some of these recent scientific theory. One other interesting fact that we also know is how the brain has evolved over a period of time. All of you are familiar that what makes humans very different is the fact that we have a gray matter or the cortex, right? Particularly the front part of the cortex that we have it here, we refer it to as prefrontal cortex. That's what helps us to decide about things, to reason out things, to be able to articulate clearly, to be able to pause and reflect. And evidence clearly shows if the neuroplasticity is very strong in this part, as compared to some other parts, which are very instinctive, very emotional, very reactive, kid has an edge over the environment. I think that is where I think Brighter Minds come. What does Brighter Minds do? It's a bunch of few interventions informed by science and strong evidence, where we take the kid through a certain package of interventions in the right environment, as I already said. Very importantly, look at the holistic brain development of a child. As I said earlier, brain has certain particular functions in particular parts of the brain that relate to intellectual functions, the reasoning, mathematical, language. There are other parts of the brain that deal with emotional quotient, the self-esteem, the confidence, the decision-making, or the problem solving. And we know if you look at the heavily IQ-driven academics, what does happen? Kids may fare well in the childhood, but when they face the bigger exams in life, that's when. So there is increasing recognition that there is a need to balance IQ and EQ as well. That's where Brighter Minds actually comes into picture, trying to stimulate the brain, if I can use that word, for a holistic brain development, in the process resulting in a holistic child development as well. So I think that's how actually we've been looking at Brighter Minds in terms of science informing Brighter Minds.
You spoke about neuroplasticity. I mean, does this exist throughout life, or is it only in children that we see?
That's a great question again. I think for a long time we thought neuroplasticity happens only in younger age group. And in a way, does it not happen later? But in the recent evidence has clearly dispelled that myth. With, I think, especially in the last 2 decades, the more sophisticated radio diagnostics that we have, we're able to peep into the brain and see what's happening in the brain, which part is doing what, and where is it growing. And what we have clearly observed is brain can continue to be stimulated. Brain can continue to grow in all age groups. Having said that, yes, neuroplasticity is fastest in the first few years. In fact, as soon as the baby is out, as soon as the baby opens its eyes and wonders at anything, you can see rapid firing happening in the brain. What do you mean by rapid firing? All the brain cells that we have close to 1 billion odd cells. Each one is called neuron. When the neurons start connecting with each other, and each neuron has a potential to make close to a few thousand connections. Think of it, close to 1 billion neurons, few thousand connections that each neuron can, the potentiality of the innumerable number of connections that is possible. So every child is born with a unique potential, but what limits a child to a particular level of performance or a particular level of success is the amount of neuroplasticity or the amount of neural connections. And that is directly dependent on the environment, the love and joy, and the kind of exposure that the child gets. And evidence again shows kids who are born in very disadvantaged or a very stressful context, a lot of parts of the brain do not get that exposure, and neuroplasticity is very weak. I'll give a simple example. There is something called limbic system in the brain, which is supposed to be known for a flight response or a fight response. I'm sure you're all familiar. This is governed by limbic system, the emotions or the instinctive part of the brain. A mother continues to be stressful and the limbic system is active. In the process, there's a whole lot of stress hormones that are released baby, while in the fetus itself, accordingly, the brain is already molded. When the kid continues to get that exposure during the first 5 years, first few years of child, the limbic system part of the brain is already under more stress. And you can see that a lot of other parts of the brain aren't really formed as well. So there goes to say that the environment, the exposure, I think it's really what decides. And neuroplasticity, we can continue to stimulate if we do a little bit conscious way of parenting and giving the right environment for the kids.
Very interesting, really very interesting. This question is to Mr. Kini. Can you tell us what are the benefits children have from this program?
Brighter Minds, we have currently released about 2 programs. The first one is called the Alpha program, which basically touches upon the cognitive skill of the child and to enhance its intuitive or intuition. So this is basically about a 30 hours program spread across 8 weeks. Here is what we thought. Most of the courses that are that the children go for, whether it's a piano class or a guitar class or any other drawing or calligraphy writing, these happen on weekdays. We said we will structure a program that children can utilize over the weekends. There are 2 ways of looking at it. One, the child is engaged over the weekends in some very creative activity. 2, the parents get their time for themselves, especially when they're both parents working. It's a good activity for them to drop the kids and engage with the kid in this particular program. So in the Alpha program, children go through these various brain exercises and other exercises which enhance their intuitive skills. We have a set of exercises which run across 30 hours. That's our first program. Once they complete the Alpha program, they go into something called Alpha Plus program, which takes care of the memory techniques and enhancing their cognitive skills further. That's again a 20-hour program. So these 2 programs together, conducted over the weekends, help the parents to connect with the child. See, our objective of having these programs was very simple. We should introduce a program which provides a fun and right environment for the child to develop. Most often than not, children are dropped at a particular place and the parents go and engage themselves with their other activities. But in Brighter Minds program, it's a teamwork between our facilitator, the child, and the parents. So we have activities for the children, some activities for family members to sit together. We call it the family time, when they sit together and help the child to complete certain exercises. That way they observe the change in the child over a period of time, and it helps in the formative, building a good foundation for the child. If we look at today, I think we have trained approximately 25,000 to 30,000 children across the strata, whether it's a private school, international school, or government schools, including residential schools in villages.
One common across India?
Yes, across India. And we have got about 13 countries, presence in 13 countries with over 2,000 trainers who have been trained on this. One of the factors, a few factors which come across very clearly from parents and their guardians is about the development of child after our program, clearly empathizing on things. I clearly remember one particular incident when a grandparent walked into one of the franchisee's place and said, "What have you done to my grandchild?" At first, the franchisee was a little worried that as he walked in with a complaint. And he said, "This child hesitated to even look at me in the eye and talk to me. Today, it walks into my room and asks me, 'Have you had your breakfast, lunch?' So what is it? What is that change that you have brought in the child just after one program?" For us at Brighter Minds, these are the factors which impact more. It's not just about intelligence that the child demonstrates in its academic career. Ability to focus is other one. While today's children, we all know there's so many distractions available. I sometimes wonder, would I be able to cope with so many distractions? And they're supposed to excel in their academics as well. So the kind of programs that we give for children, instead of engaging in all these electronic gadget-based activities, these children are focused in doing certain activities which help them to improve upon their neuroplasticity in their brain. So that focus there's cognitive ability, intuitive ability, empathy, one of the fantastic factors in our opinion, which truly has brought out the inner qualities of the child.
What is very interesting is the bonding that you spoke about, the grandchild and the grandparent. That could be very emotional for a grandparent.
Grandparents, that's right.
Grandparents. You also said about parents involving. Does it require parents to be there during the training hours with the child when you take a child through the program?
Good question. I should have touched upon that. The way a child is inducted into the program it's slightly different from the normal programs where people are admitted. Franchises run through a kind of counseling session with the parents, wherein they get the details about the child, understand, and take a commitment from the parents that they will be able to spend some time with the child, not at the training center, but back at home, which is called the circle time. So circle time, we have made activities so interesting that parents would find it, parents would be keen to participate in these activities. So yes, if you want to know the answer, it is important for parents to sign in saying that, yes, we will be part of the overall exercise in the Brighter Minds program.
Thank you. This one is to Dr. Krishna. As you go through this program, has there been any key learning?
Oh yeah, I think there's a whole lot of learnings. I think one thing that we consciously did right from the day one is we've been a very learning and thinking kind of a program. And that's why the research has been embedded quite deeply right from the inception itself. Initially, we did something called formative research. While the original idea behind the development and offering of this program was to really look at how do we improve the observation capabilities in the children, because we clearly knew observation is on a decline with the kind of distractions as Mr. Kini was referring to earlier, the kind of environment, I think with the kind of multitasking that happens at all levels, kids are doing it. Observation definitely has been declined and there's enough research to that is documented. So original idea was to really improve the observation. But when we actually did this initial formative research and piloted the program, parents were able to report few more changes. As rightly pointed out by Mr. Kini, the focus was one, self-esteem, confidence, empathy, comprehension. Very interestingly, the intuitive ability as well. Very often intuition surprises people, right? And what we believe in Brighter Minds is intuition is an inherent part of the observation. All of us naturally are born with an ability to intuitively observe, take decisions, but somehow with our environment, with our education, we lose that ability. We've seen Brighter Minds is really opening up that ability where kids are able to pause, reflect, feel things, and then decide. And a lot of parents have come back and reported. That's when it really threw some light on the possible changes that are possibly happening. We further went on. That's when we thought, can we take this program into school settings? Yes, as Kini was referring to, we have open learning centers through some people who are interested in working with the children. It was a weekend program. But our idea was to really take it into schools and educational settings, because sadly in India and many developing country settings, neuroscience application in the field of education is missing. And the pedagogy is still outdated. There's a lot that can be done in terms of teachers are so stressed themselves. Overwhelming syllabus requirements, overwhelming system constraints. Management has its own stresses in terms of running the school. So often the child issues, though the school wants to be a child-centric, but often the teachers miss out. And teachers go through a lot of training as well. So we recognize that there is a missing of this neuroscience-based pedagogy, and we really want to bring it back. And that's where our experiment took us to some school settings. We particularly worked in some residential school settings, particularly in rural India, where the schools are open for children from low disadvantaged sections of society. And there were at least some 12 different schools that we worked with in a district called Mehboob Nagar in Telangana. I think very interesting. We trained the teachers there. And through the teachers, we took this Brighter Minds training. What we did was try to integrate into their existing curricula. So teachers were actually able to take it without really affecting the existing syllabus. And the results were fascinating. We invited external researchers to come and evaluate, because the program was happening at scale. It was integrated within an educational setting. And we want to see what are the results, how different are they? Very fascinating. Again, the focus, the memory, self-esteem, empathy, observation, intuition, they're all improving. When we interviewed teachers in the focus group discussion, they were really thrilled. They said it gave us a new kind of way to deal with kids. And kids are able to interact, communicate, and positively come back, and a whole lot of learning. So what clearly we were able to learn from this is this program is scalable, can be taken into a school setting, and we can really instill a neuroscience-based pedagogy. And that is something that we at Brighter Minds are keen on taking it to educational policy holders. One other important learning, I think, continuing with where Mr. Kini was referring to, the role of a parent. And that's an area of exploration for us. Some of our research team is deeply exploring the area of parenting. What we realized, parents themselves are going through a lot of stress. It wasn't like 3-4 decades ago that lives were much simple, schedules weren't as hectic. Parents had a lot more time to deal with children. The joint family system existed, but it's not the same now. Both husband and wife are working. They want to give time, but they don't have time. They would like to get some programs where kids can be engaged. Even at home, maybe a movie on a Netflix or Amazon Prime or a mall, but really the good interaction doesn't happen. But what we have seen, when the kid goes through a program with our trainers, but if parental engagement can be instilled, that's when our trainers talk to parents and try to get, ideally speaking, it's not just a child program, it's actually a parent-child program. We've clearly seen where a parent is able to take the additional 15-20 minutes time out, engage the kid, inspire the kid to practice some of these exercises that we give. It only takes 10-15 minutes. The results are very, very far-fetching. The kind of changes, the more permanent changes we've been able to see. One, I remember a mother came back and reported in one of the interviews. Her 13-year age group girl was into the program. Before that, they never really could connect eye into eye, heart to heart. They could never really connect well. After the program, the mother reported, I think now I feel I found a friend. The girl is able to talk to me, empathize with me, and things like that. So this is where if parents are able to really participate, the benefits, I think, are far-reaching. So those are some important learnings. Having said that, I don't think learning stops because we're continuously trying to learn and see how we can refine the program better. And I think learning continues for us.
Some of the very, very interesting points that you spoke, Doctor, like parents connecting with children. I think all of us somewhere feel there is a lack of connect, and it really is very interesting. And another important thing that you said, self-esteem in rural children especially. I think that leads on to feeling a situation. That is very important to be intuitive. Another important thing is observation. That is, I think, what is very, very lacking, because we are all talking about concentration without understanding the need to observe. It is the observation which leads to concentration and further into focus. I think these are some very important points that you said, and quite interesting. You also spoke about parents' involvement. Can you tell us a little more about it? The role of parents from a science perspective, the role of parents' involvement in this program from a science perspective.
We are trying to delve into the area of parenting from two perspectives, from a psychology as well as a neuroscience perspective. Very interesting piece of information is out there in psychology. I think researchers have really documented the various types of parenting styles and clearly documented the particular type of a parenting style and what kind of possible effects, positive and negative, that can happen. One particular style called authoritarian. There's authoritative style, authoritarian, there is silent, presumptive, very passive, and a whole lot of different parenting styles are there. What even psychologists say, the right type of parenting style is the one where there is discipline, yes, but there are laws, because child would require certain set of discipline, certain structure, certain laws in the way. But parents take that extra time and effort to communicate why they are trying to do what they're doing. They make it a dialogue. They don't blindly impose. They involve kids in the very process with a clear-cut, bigger picture out there, with a very clear vision out there. I think very interesting. Some of the things that we are trying to do, each of this parenting style, how does it relate to the neuroscience? There's also a style where parents are constantly demanding. When we look at the science and evidence there, they themselves have gone through similar experiences when they were children themselves. They somehow inherit from their own parents, or their own life exposure make them what they are. So their parents aren't really to be blamed. If parents are very demanding, very stressful, very defensive, they aren't to be blamed, but that's what they have made. But what we at Brighter Minds are trying to do is really educate parents, make them conscious, Again, not to make them feel guilty, but there is science. Let us approach it factually. Let's approach it scientifically. There are ways and means of working around it, getting better as well. This is something that we are trying to do. As I said earlier, right? There's a limbic system, which is a reactive brain. There's a prefrontal cortex that is a responsive brain. Depending on which is more dominant, accordingly, the expression, the parenting style also emanates. Accordingly, there is impact on the child as well. That is something that we are trying to work around as well. But that's a very interesting area. And our team currently has a psychologist, a cognitive researcher, a pediatrician, educationist, and a whole lot of those there. We're continuously trying to look into it. And very recently, we brought out some webinars on science of parenting. And we continue to bring some more in the days to come.
Very interesting. I think it wouldn't be wrong to say that there is also brighter parenting.
Good one.
Yeah, could you please give us more information on any other areas that you're working right now? If anybody, Mr. Kini or Dr. Krishna, anybody would like to add to this? Or if you...
Mr. Kini, you can start, then I will follow on.
Yeah, good that you asked this question. Now, I have to add here to what Dr. Krishna said, that this program was released after doing a pilot batch for 100 children from different parts of the world, engaging in the pilot batch, taking feedback from the parents, and then rolling it out. We rolled out our first program somewhere in 2016. Now, our learning over the years while running the children batch was, what is it that we can do for the parents as well? So good news for people like us. You will soon hear a program, rightly we have called it Restart, wherein we are trying to touch upon the cognitive reserve that each one of us require when we age. The scientific side of it, the biological side of it, I will let Dr. Krishna to address. But here is a program which we have put together, which can be taken up by any age group, because Brighter Minds program for children is limited to age 5 to 15. And this is something which we would like to give for adults. And our pilot batch is going on, and soon you will hear more about this program. The other program, like I started my initial discussion talking about the brain, we believe that knowledge of brain is not well received, both at home as well as in schools. So our research team has put together a nice module called Know Your Brain. This is something which we are propagating in all educational institutions and wherever there is an opportunity in common forums to talk about the brain. It is our interest to make sure that every individual, even a child in its early days, knows about the various parts of the brain and gets to know about it. It's time, I think, that we start knowing more about this organ of the body so that we could use it in the right manner. The calmness that it can help us in, the 12-inch shift from the mind to the heart is something which everyone should know, so that when they get into a situation of adulthood, most mishaps when we talk to corporates have happened not because the person has not scored great academic scores. It's inability of the person to handle situations. Whether it is a promotion or an unexpected project on hand, these are situations which people are not able to handle. So we would like to make sure that the next generation is well equipped with all these tools and techniques.
Before
you can add on.
Takes up, actually, that was my question. Do you have any program coming up for adults? Because you spoke about neuroplasticity. I think we all need, and I'm quite interested, in enrolling myself in a program of this kind. So that was actually going to be my question. Yes, Dr. Krishna, if there's any concluding message, any take-home message for our audience from you.
Sure, just to add a little bit on the Restart program, I think what some of us have been doing, and then probably we could continue. I think there's a very interesting idea within, again, the neuroscience space called cognitive reserve that Kini was touching upon earlier. And you rightly said, Dr. Renu, if there's any program for us as adults, what clearly evidence shows, as we age, we all take a certain balance, like bank balance. We can also take our cognitive reserve or a brain balance into our elderly age. If we have a good cognitive reserve, or we have a good balance, I think we are less vulnerable to many neurological changes that naturally happen as a routine process of aging, like dementia, memory loss, some psychological changes, the gait abnormalities, and all that. You're familiar with Alzheimer's and many other things. Alzheimer's is a big multi-million-dollar industry now, trying to find how do we mitigate. But evidence again shows simple things like meditation, having a higher purpose or higher ideal in life, staying engaged socially, challenging our brain with certain challenges, puzzles, not getting into a certain routine. Simple things like this can actually continue to challenge our brain, and we can actually generate a good cognitive reserve or a balance. But what happens on contrary? Our lifestyles are so stressed. We are gotten into certain mechanical way of living without necessarily challenging our brains or challenging ourselves. So lifestyles are not really conducive for the ideal growth of the brain. That's where, as a part of Restart program, adult program for adults, we're trying to look at what are those lifestyles that are problematic from a brain health point of view. And what are those positive lifestyle aspects that will facilitate a good cognitive reserve or a brain growth. So Restart, that pilot we just completed a few weeks ago, is all about educating, training, and supporting adults in adopting a certain lifestyle that is conducive for developing a cognitive reserve so that we can actually age very gracefully. I think parents, as you rightly said, brighter parents, I think this is the program for brighter parents. For corporate says this is the program. For middle, for homemakers, take any, I think doesn't matter. Any background, I think this is the program. Again, backed by latest scientific theories. What we are trying to do is before we release it out there, we're trying to pilot research to see how we can make it really effective and simple. And then I think we just completed and very soon we will have that program out. And that's where I think jointly, I think the science of learning that is taken care of by the Brighter Minds and the Brighter Minds Plus program, where some of those IQ and EQ level abilities, and the Restart program. I think jointly, I think this program is for one family as a whole. So we'd like to really come back in a very integrated fashion with this program for a family. Doesn't matter what age group, there's something for everyone. So what we would like to say probably at the end, before I would like to leave it to Kini for the final marks, what I would like to say, please check this out. There's something that each one can find for any particular age group. Jointly, if you can work consciously on one's own brain, looking at brain from a holistic point of view, I think our own lifestyles can become that more holistic, our own development, probably a quality of life, a living for the family as a whole can be that much more holistic. With that, I would like to end and hand over Kini for any final remarks.
As a medical practitioner, I've always believed that maintaining health is best when it is maintained when you're healthy. And more so, I think it is applicable for neuro health because as we all know, nerves are very, very slow to grow compared to any other tissue in our body. So I think it's really, really good to have this Restart program where you stimulate your nerves early in life before you land. There is no supplement or a drug which can reverse Alzheimer's. It is not possible. And it is so with many neurological conditions. You know, do not allow it to degenerate and wear out and then struggle. So I think Restart should be an even more encouraging program because we will have healthy old individuals who will not be dependent or bedridden or conditions which will limit families also from their normal functioning, especially when you have Alzheimer's. So that's something really, really important. As you all focus on Brighter Minds, I think Restart also requires an equal importance taking it ahead. Any message, Mr. Kini, any take-home message, final message from you?
Yeah, we at Brighter Minds, I think end of the day, we are looking at living this place a better place for children and better children in its right place. Especially, we know what situation we are going through in the recent past. I don't think the family has been together for a longer duration than what we have seen in the past couple of months. So in order to keep them engaged, we have brought out a few programs. One of them is called Phonology, an activity book. The whole idea about releasing this activity, I love the name Phonology. This was given by a youngster who helped us in designing the whole book. The whole objective was, there are times when you are together, make the most of it. When we were busy working there, we were wondering, when do we get time for ourselves? When do we go on a break? I don't think you could ask for a better staying together with the family, although the situation seems to be improving now. Now, this particular activity, we are saying, if the parents sit with the children and pick up a time frame. See, let's understand, if it was normal days, children would have got used to a timetable. They are completely driven on a timetable. So we are telling the parents, draw a timetable for the child, give it specific time for using the electronic gadgets, and join it in these phonology activities. These are fun to work together, and the reviews that we are getting of parents who have used this particular activity book is tremendous. Now we are trying to see how we can go virtual with this book, so that every household who has gone through the Brighter Minds program can start involving in this activity. That's something which is in the offering, which we have released recently. Objective is very simple. It's time we as parents start understanding what the children like to do. I should be able to connect with it with about Marvel stories and Star Wars. I can't go back and talk about mythological stories now, because what they see, what they discuss is completely different. And it's fun for us to get into the younger age and understand their side of things as well. It helps us to understand them better. So our objective in Brighter Minds is to try and get them as many activities. If you look at some of the posters that we release to them, whether it's during the examination times, or we try to connect with all these marble models or someone who the child can easily connect, So that's our whole objective. Open the creativity in the child. Let it explore. Why keep it closed by just saying these are the only things that you have to study? We believe that each child is different. Each one has a different talent, and just enable them to come out and explore their own talents.
Wonderful. Very beautiful, very interesting, and causing a lot of curiosity. I hope this has caused a lot of curiosity even in our audience. The mind of a child has immense potential beyond the scope of our imagination. As Dr. Krishna said, in order to bring about a balance, the whole brain must be stimulated in childhood, while the plasticity of the brain can still be harnessed. Brighter Minds offer a training program based on theories and practical research on the concept of whole brain activation to help children enhance their mental capabilities. I would like to conclude this program thanking Dr. Krishnamurthy and Mr. Ravindra Kini for giving us and educating us about Brighter Minds. Thank you. I thank all the audience who joined us in this webinar today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We all want the best for our children so that they can excel in life. We admit them to the best schools, encourage them to play sports, and enroll them in extracurricular activities. But the world around us is becoming increasingly complex. The number of distractions is increasing, and the stress levels in our children are rising. Their attention spans are decreasing, and their minds are becoming restless. There is too much to do in too little time. How can we help them deal with life and realize their true potential? The answer lies hidden inside the mind of every child, which is not yet completely used to its fullest capability. Brighter Minds program unlocks the hidden potential of your child and makes them future ready. It uses the principle of enhancing the capacity of the brain of your child while it is still developing and receptive to learning. It brings about a fine balance between the logical, analytical, holistic, creative, and intuitive processes of the brain of your child. At Brighter Minds, the capacity of the brain is enhanced using proven and well-researched methodology that includes unique brain exercises for sharpening cognitive retention, sensory augmentation through acoustic vibrations, and relaxation techniques that calm the mind and raise the potential of your child. All this helps your child in developing deeper observational skills, enhancing the ability to stay focused with increased attention time spans, and inspiring creativity, helping your child in problem solving and staying ahead. It increases self-confidence and gives your child the power of intuition, helping your child in dealing with stressful, demanding environments and complex situations. It creates a habit of excellence in thought and action, helping children impart true human values and achieve their fullest potential. Brighter Minds makes your child ready for the future. Give your child the right gift. Brighter Minds. A gift for a lifetime.